We're diving deep into stanza the fifth of H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine. We're really zeroing in on these septenary hierarchies and the, well, ancient perspective it offers on cosmic origins.
Take some dense material for sure.
It is. But think of this as your shortcut, yeah. A way to grasp some seriously mind-expanding concepts without, needing a PhD in ancient texts.
Right. We're in.
Our mission today, basically to distill the key insights. We're talking about this layered structure of the universe, how ancient wisdom might have been passed down, and this powerful underlying idea of unity, that everything's connected.
And what's immediately striking when you look at these sources is just the sheer scope of the cosmology they present. It's not just like a simple creation story.
No, not at all.
It's this rich tapestry, really, of interconnected forces and beings, all operating on different levels. The very idea of these septenary hierarchies suggests a universe organized in a really specific, multi-layered way.
And this concept of the sons of fire as instructors, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about cosmic intelligence and its role in, well, consciousness developing.
It really does.
Absolutely. So these sons of fire, they're not just metaphorical flames, are they?
No, the texts are pretty specific.
They describe them as these great king instructors, people, or beings rather, who actually guided early humanity. It's like picturing cosmic mentors for, I don't know, a fledgling civilization.
Yeah, exactly. And they're part of these divine dynasties, these hierarchical levels within what's called the third logos.
Okay, the third logos. So if the logos is like a divine blueprint.
Right. The third logos is a specific aspect of that creative impulse. And these hierarchies, they include beings called fire chohans and others associated with the classical elements, ether, air, water, earth.
Plus, it mentions 7 cosmic elements, right? 2 of which are still, well, let's just say beyond our current grasp.
Beyond our current science, yeah. 2 secret ones.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. This intellectual growth of humanity is supposedly linked to these fiery hierarchies, either through them actually incarnating or, get this, kind of overshadowing early humans, like a more advanced consciousness guiding a younger one.
That overshadowing idea is fascinating. If we try to connect it to maybe a broader understanding, it could be interpreted in different ways, perhaps.
Oh, so?
Well, maybe not a literal merging, but a profound influence, a transmission of knowledge or insight that sort of helped shape early human understanding.
Like inspiration, almost.
Could be. And the connection to the elements, it just reminds us of this recurring theme in so many ancient philosophies, this fundamental link between the spiritual or cosmic and the material world.
Definitely.
But the crucial point here, I think, is that while these hierarchies appear distinct, the sources emphasize they are integral parts of a single indivisible whole.
Right, like different facets of the same diamond you said earlier, or instruments in an orchestra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Contributing to a single symphony.
Yeah. And the concept of fire itself seems to have this double meaning, which I found really thought-provoking.
Go on.
Well, there's the purely formless and invisible fire, almost like a central, pure energy source, the central spiritual sun, they call it.
Okay, the unmanifested aspect.
Right. And then there's the fire of the manifested cosmos, septenary, which is the fire we understand within our universe, but it has 7 aspects. It's like the difference between pure potential and its active expression.
That makes sense. Potential versus kinetic, almost, in a metaphysical way.
Kind of. Plus, there's this idea that fire, in the sense of knowledge, it actually burns away illusions. It leads to what's called emancipation or liberation.
That's a powerful image knowledge as a transformative force.
Yeah.
Like alchemy for the mind.
Totally. It even ties into these 7 mystic senses, sometimes called hotris or priests in some traditions, suggesting a deeper, maybe more intuitive way of perceiving reality.
And that symbolic use of fire, both as this primal energy and a metaphor for transformative knowledge, it really resonates across various ancient spiritual paths.
Like in the Bhagavad Gita.
Exactly. The reference to the Gita's symbolic journeys of fire flame day versus smoke night illustrates this beautifully. Think of fire there representing a path towards enlightenment, clarity, liberation.
While smoke and night suggest illusion or ignorance.
Precisely. And the Sankaracharya's interpretation, linking fire to the deity of time, Kala, adds another layer. It connects this transformative knowledge to the very cycles of existence.
Wow.
What's also fascinating is that distinction the sources made between the solar deities, the Agnishwatha and Kumara.
They fashioned the inner spiritual aspects of humanity, right?
That's what's said, yes.
Yeah.
Versus the lunar deities, the Pitris, who are credited with creating our physical form.
Yeah.
It suggests this complex interplay of cosmic forces in our very being.
It really does, and it doesn't stop there, does it? These sons of fire are also linked to primordial minds, these first intelligent beings that evolved from that initial primordial fire.
And the sources point out echoes of this idea everywhere. Deuteronomy's consuming fire for divine power.
The New Testament's fiery angels and tongues of fire.
Right, symbolizing spiritual revelation. Vishnu's Kalki avatar appearing in flames. Revelation's word of God as this powerful, radiant force.
Even Sociosh in Zoroastrianism, I believe.
It's like this concept of a fundamental fiery intelligence or energy just runs like a common thread through so many different spiritual narratives.
Which raises that really important question about the universality of certain esoteric ideas, doesn't it?
Definitely. Does it point to a shared ancient source?
Or perhaps these are fundamental archetypal experiences, something deep within human consciousness that resonates with these ideas. The notion of sons of fire as primordial minds certainly aligns with the view that the universe isn't just inert matter.
But fundamentally imbued with consciousness.
Exactly, with intelligence being primary, not just some lucky accident of material evolution. Okay, so we have these fiery guides, these primordial intelligences. But where did everything, in the ultimate sense, come from? The sources quote this incredibly evocative line.
Yes.
Neither first nor last, all is one number issued from no number. That's a real head-scratcher in the best possible way.
It really is, and this principle goes right to the core of so many esoteric cosmologies. The no number. It represents the absolute unmanifest.
That which is beyond definition.
Beyond all concept. The source of everything, but in its unmanifested state, it has no attributes, no number. It just is.
So the emergence of one number is that first step.
The very first step into manifestation. The beginning of differentiation. The point from which all other numbers, all forms, will eventually unfold. It's emphasizing that everything we see as separate and distinct
ultimately comes from this single, undifferentiated source.
like that single seed containing the potential for the entire forest.
Exactly. And it sounds like this foundational knowledge wasn't just, pulled out of thin air. It came from what are called primordial sources, specifically the primordial seven and those born from the primordial flame.
That's right.
Who exactly are these primordial figures?
Well, the primordial seven are described as the most elevated beings. You could think of them almost like archangels in some Western traditions.
Or like the mind-born sons of Brahma in Hinduism.
Precisely. They're seen as emanations from the first sacred four, which connects to the ancient Greek concept of the tetractys, that triangular figure representing fundamental cosmic principles.
Okay.
What's particularly interesting is their cyclical role. They're said to be latent, sort of in cosmic rest, during periods called pralaya.
Cosmic dissolution.
Yes. And then they become active during the periods of cosmic manifestation, the manvantaras. Their origin is traced back to this father-mother principle, symbolizing the unity of spirit and matter.
And they're contrasted with others.
Yes, with the manifested quaternary and the seven builders, who are said to proceed from the mother alone, this immaculate virgin mother overshadowed by the universal mystery. It's quite a complex cosmic family tree.
It definitely sounds like it. Now, the sources then get into these fascinating numerical sequences that supposedly describe creation.
The numbers, yes.
A 1 from the egg, the 6 and the 5, then the 3, the 1, the 4, the 1, the 5, the twice 7, the sum total. It feels like we've stumbled into some ancient cosmic math code.
Absolutely. And this is where the deep esoteric significance of numbers really comes into play. In many ancient traditions, numbers weren't just for counting, right?
They held symbolic meaning.
Profound symbolic meaning about the very structure of reality. So, the 1 from the egg, the 6 and the 5 gives us 1065.
Okay.
The analysis links this to Brahma Prajapati, a key creator figure in Hindu cosmology. And it even draws connections to Kabbalistic ideas like the Sephiroth, the 10 emanations.
And the numerical value of God's name in Hebrew.
Exactly. And the teachings of Hermes, emphasizing how 1 and 10 are linked, reinforces this idea of unity expressing itself in multiplicity.
Then we get the 3, the 1, the 4, the 1, the 5, 3, 1, 4, 4, 5.
Right, which is explicitly tied to the hierarchy of the Dayan Chohans, these intelligent cosmic beings we need to talk more about, and the inner, more subtle realms.
And the parallel to pi is unmistakable.
It is. Pi, the constant related to circles, and the boundary of this past-not circle, the Dhyanapada, represent the limits of manifestation. It's quite striking.
And connecting it to the Hebrew Elohim through its numerical value. Another intriguing link between these systems.
It really is mind-blowing how these seemingly different systems of thought appear to converge on these numerical representations.
Yeah. And then we have the symbolism of the shapes. The circle with a point, the triangle, the pentacle, the cube. It's like a visual language mapping out cosmic unfolding.
A sacred geometry.
Exactly. The idea of the central point separating into a diameter, representing the feminine principle and the birth of forms. That's a really powerful image.
It is. When the son separates from the mother, he becomes the father. It points to this continuous cycle of differentiation and creation.
Unity becomes duality to bring forth the manifest world.
That concept of separation and duality emerging is fundamental in many esoteric teachings. The analogy of Prajapati as the first procreating male, but also being his mother's husband.
It sounds paradoxical.
It's symbolic. It expresses this principle of the one becoming two to initiate creation, that interplay of active and passive, masculine and feminine at the cosmic level. It's a motif you see in creation myths all over the world, highlighting this essential dynamic.
Okay, now let's really delve into these Dhyan Chohans. The sources call them conscious, intelligent powers in nature.
Or even the army of the voice.
Right. Linking them to sound and speech, which are seen as effects of divine thought. That's a pretty broad definition. What exactly do they do?
It is broad, but it emphasizes their role as these active, intelligent forces in the cosmos unfolding. The term covers a huge spectrum of beings and energies, essences, flames, elements, the builders of the universe.
Numbers, formless beings, beings with forms.
Exactly. Arupa, formless, Rupa with bodies, force, even the potential for divine man. The builders specifically are identified as cosmicrators.
The architects.
The architects of the universe, yeah.
Yeah.
Shaping and structuring reality. While the Dhyanis themselves are considered anupadaka, meaning parentless, in a cosmic sense radiated directly from the unmanifested logos.
And this army of the voice, it's described as the prototype for the host of the logos, or the word in the Sefer Jazira, the Kabbalistic text. That really ties into the occult significance of sound and speech, doesn't it? The idea that creation itself is fundamentally linked to vibration, to utterance.
Precisely. The army of the voice represents that creative power inherent in sound, the manifestation of divine thought into the fabric of reality itself.
So our words have power.
These sources certainly highlight that esoteric belief, that even our thoughts carry karmic weight, and that the first thing to emerge from Akasha, the primordial substance, was sound the word.
Like in the Gospel of John.
Similar concept, yes. And the reference to P. Christian's perspective on the power of words and names underscores this ancient understanding of language as a potent force.
Shaping reality.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And the idea of the army of the voice being, nominally, the synthesis of seven senses is fascinating too. It links cosmic consciousness and our own sensory experience.
And suggesting a resonance between the macrocosm and microcosm.
That's the idea, like the Enogita's seven sacrificial priests, the Hotris, representing senses or perceptive powers.
Then we encounter this term, oihahu, described as a circular wind or whirlwind.
Yeah, representing ceaseless, eternal cosmic motion.
The very force of deity, the eternal Karana, the fundamental cause of everything, sounds like the universe's ultimate engine.
That's a great way to put it. Oihahu represents the dynamic, ever-present aspect of the absolute, that unceasing motion underlying everything.
And the sparks, or monads, individual consciousness units, are subject to it.
Subject to the influence of the seven hierarchies and the geometry defined by the circle and this oihaha. It suggests this deep interconnectedness between primal motion and the structured unfolding of the cosmos.
Nature, geometrizing universally.
Forming everything from points and lines to complex spheres. It speaks to an inherent order emerging from eternal motion.
And that statement, motion is eternal in the unmanifested and periodical in the manifest.
Beautifully captures the cyclical nature of cosmic activity, doesn't it? An eternal dance of creation and rest.
It does. And from this cosmic motion, we get the emergence of the cosmic triads, darkness, Adisanat, and the voice of the word. How do these three fit together?
They represent these fundamental stages in the transition from the unmanifested to the manifested. Darkness, Adinidana, isn't negative, it's the primordial void, the unconditioned potential.
Okay.
Adisanat is the unmanifested logos, the first differentiation, the one emerging from no number.
And the voice of the word?
Svabhavat. That's the active creative force, the 1 and 9, bringing about multiplicity and diversity. These three, within the primordial circle, form the sacred four, the Tetractys.
Which then gives rise to the 10, the Arupa or formless universe, the higher abstract realms.
Exactly. And the parallel drawn to the Kabbalistic Sephirothal tree emanating from Ein Sof, the nothingness, is another one of those fascinating cross-cultural echoes.
It keeps happening. Okay, then the sources talk about the sons, the 7 fighters, and this, well, rather dramatic figure, the rejected son, our own son, Martanda. That sounds like a myth on a cosmic scale.
It is indeed a myth with profound cosmological implications. The allegory of Aditi, the divine mother figure casting away her 8th son, Martanda.
Our son.
Yes, it's presented as an esoteric explanation for our sun's unique relationship with the other planets and how its gravitational pull is regulated. The 7 other suns, the ones not rejected, are cosmically linked to the 7 visible planets, the Aditya.
And this perspective challenges the standard scientific view.
It does. It explicitly refutes the nebular theory, stating the sun was an elder brother, not father, to the planets, meaning they formed from the same primordial stuff, but not from the sun.
Where did they form from then?
From cometary matter, or world stuff, found within the Milky Way, apparently, going through cycles of being comets, then suns. There's even a suggestion our sun was once a comet and will eventually fragment.
Wow, okay.
The key takeaway, though, is that the visible sun is seen as just a reflection of a more central spiritual sun, and it feeds on ether, poetically called the sweat of the mother's body.
Fascinating imagery. Finally, we get to the Lipika, the second 7, cosmic scribes connected with karma.
Right. The universe's ultimate impartial record keepers.
That's a great description. How are they described?
They're presented as divine beings emanating from that cosmic triad word, voice, and spirit. They're the cosmic recorders.
Like recording angels?
Analogous to that, yes. Or the Maharajas in Eastern thought who oversee cosmic order, or the metaphorical book of life. Their main job is to meticulously record every act, every thought, every intention.
Wow.
Upon the astral light, described as this vast, ethereal, great picture gallery of eternity.
So everything leaves a trace.
That's the idea. They're also said to project the ideal plan of the universe for the builders to follow after pralaya, the cosmic dissolution. They act as the direct scribes of eternal ideation, or divine thought.
And there's a connection to horoscopy.
Yes, suggesting that these cosmic conditions recorded by the Lipika at the moment of birth can subtly influence the developing brain and our individual karmic paths.
Wow. Okay, so as we bring this deep dive towards a close, it's just crystal clear that stanza the 5th of the Secret Doctrine paints this picture of a cosmos that's not just vast, but deeply interconnected, intelligently organized.
Absolutely. It's quite a journey.
We've gone through this hierarchical structure, teeming with divine instructors, cosmic architects, all stemming from this fundamental, almost ineffable unity. We've touched on the ancient roots of this wisdom, the symbolic power of numbers, the crucial roles of cosmic forces and conscious beings in shaping the universe and our own consciousness.
And this profound concept of universal record of our thoughts and deeds.
It's definitely a lot to digest.
It is, but hopefully this exploration has offered you, the listener, a clearer, maybe even an inspiring glimpse into these complex esoteric ideas.
Yeah.
This cosmology really emphasizes the profound interconnectedness of things that might seem separate. It invites us to see the universe not as just random bits, but as a unified, living, breathing whole.
And as you continue to reflect on these intricate concepts, maybe you might ponder your own connection to these grand cosmic principles.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
What does it truly mean if there is a continuous universal recording of our inner and outer lives? How could knowledge like this possibly have been transmitted across such vast stretches of time?
These are the enduring questions, the big mysteries.
They really are, and they resonate even today. This deep dive hopefully offers a unique, ancient perspective on our ultimate origins and our place within this grand, mysterious universe. Join us next time as we embark on another fascinating deep dive into the realms of knowledge.